Hey, y'all. In this episode of Talk Your Shit podcast, we're going to talk about having audacity and what it means to be audacious in business and life in general. And who better to hear it from than a life coach herself? I am joined today by my girl, Ciel.
Hi.
Ciel, how are you? Tell the people how you are.
Oh my gosh, I'm so good. I am so excited for this podcast. Like more than any other podcast, I think, but don't tell the others.
Oh, well, then we'll make sure they don't listen. I'll just block them from,
Well, maybe not block, but I'm excited that we get to just talk.
Yes.
Right? Like, we get to talk. Yes.
I'm so excited. Okay, Ciel, so tell us your background, where you're from, what's your story, how did, Ciel become who she is today?
Oh my gosh, that's so much. So I don't have one place that I'm from. I moved around, born in LA, then Calgary, Canada, grew up most of the time in Michigan, then went to France to live for a while, had a ball, came back, did university in Indiana, then went to France to teach, then to Denver because I met a guy. That was hard. Ooh, moving for a guy. Oh,
The men.
Let's just say, I was like, no, people move for me.
I said the same thing.
That was, So
what happened?
But you know what? It worked out though, because
we're
still together. We have two amazing kids. I adore. Oh gosh, I still think he's so hot. Like, it's so good.
Well, that's so good. I'm glad you still find him attractive. That'd be concerning.
Yeah. So I think those are the locations, I think. And then I'm also, I'm half Filipino. I know I'm passing white. I'm half Filipino. So I spent a lot of time in the Philippines. So when you say, where are you from? I sort of grew up in a lot of different places. So there's that, which actually leads to my story. And I've been thinking about this it was interesting because, it reminded me of a book. So, there's a lot of books in my background too. Oh, should I do career too, Diamond? I should.
Girl, do it all. Let's hear it all.
Oh my gosh. So it's like here's my resume is I knew I wanted to be a professor young. I think I was 14 and I watched a movie. It's not a great movie, but I watched a movie and I was like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so I did it quickly. So I was teaching before I could drink. I was teaching at 20 and I taught 20 years at the university. In that time, I also was a dean at a college. I was a principal at a language immersion school in the area. I was a professional ballroom dancer. I was a barista. I founded and owned an international wedding planning company. So I did that for a while. So, and I did all of those things as I was also teaching. And then recently, so over COVID and all of those, I retired myself from the university and did that about almost 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and went full-time coaching. So knew that I wanted to do coaching again, it was over COVID where I was like, oh, this is what I love. It's just that 20 years ago, that wasn't a thing. So now I'm able to do that. So that's sort of that's the career part of it.
Wow. Okay, so now we're getting into life coaching. Tell us how did you even get into that? So what was the moment where you were like, man, life coaching, for students is what I want to do?
Yeah. So over COVID, my family, we were one of those people who bought an RV and just went. We're like, let's just school and work and visit and adventure on the road. And it was one of those, we were driving a lot and I was listening to a lot of podcasts and realized that a lot of the podcasts I was listening to were coaches. And there was a moment, I'm just driving, I just remember the road. It was like this straight road, mountains on both sides. And I had this moment of, wait, I could do coaching. Like, that's actually what I love to do. And I can do it on my own terms and I can make the money that I want to make doing it. And I think it was those three components together that had me really consider it, because I love teaching in the classroom. Teaching was always, I loved it once I was in the classroom, but I was not in love with the systems at play and the education system and how undervalued, underappreciated, and underpaid I was. It was, I mean, that's also one of the reasons that I started all these other companies. So it's like I had a vision for my life. In order to make the money, it wasn't going to be in education. I got to, I got to go find the other ways. So this was a way of really realizing it's like, that's actually foundational to my teaching. Like, I love English and literature and such, but in the grand scheme of things, like, the purpose of my life is not to teach thesis statements.
That'll do it.
I mean, I do love the thesis statements and I love making it easy for people, but what I loved was behind the scenes, right? It's like, what do the students get by knowing that they can actually understand something that they never thought they'd be able to understand? At that point, they know that they can tackle anything. Then they're like, of course I can graduate this college thing. Or learning, like, somehow me being in the classroom, they'd leave and they'd write me a note and say, thanks for everything. I realized I could be a big boss with having you as my professor. It's like, those are the things that I love. And it just took me, honestly, it took language to know, like, oh, I've actually been coaching, honestly, my whole life. I just didn't know that that was coaching. So I just took it and I'm going. I'm doing it.
You're going and you're changing lives. And y'all, we gonna talk. We gonna let her tell her shit, talk her shit, tell her, what kind of results she out here giving to them. Because I know we got some good results.
There's them. I mean, but that's because humans are amazing, and I work with amazing people.
And you're an amazing coach.
Oh,
that's very, very important as well.
I am good at what I do, Diamond. I am. Yep. I've been at it for a while too. So, are you wanting me to tell you results right now? Is that face that you're making at me?
No,
not yet. Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We got to ease them into it. You know what I'm saying?
I'll wait.
So as you do, these coaching for students and everything, and you're teaching them like, hey, you can be great. You have these skills, you have these talents, like you are worthy of this. And basically you're teaching them to be audacious.
I am.
So for you, what does it mean to be audacious? What does it mean to have audacity?
Oh, okay. So, okay, y'all, so I was a professor in English, so I sort of did a little bit of a dive into the word.
Wow.
And so audacious and audacity come from the French, like audacieux. And it really is, it's like courageous from the heart. It's being brave, it's being confident, it's being strong, all those things that we think about, right? Boldness. But here's what was so interesting. Is in the origin of, like, the root word, it was seen as a bad sense, right? Like, you didn't want, back in the day, you didn't want to be called audacious because it meant that you were, here's the terminology, unrestrained from propriety. So, like property. So it was like, audacious meant you were going against the rules. Audacious meant you were you weren't playing by what powers at B told you should be. And when I got that, I was like, that is audacious for me. Like, that's honestly, when you asked my story, that I feel is my story. It reminds me of a book it's called I think it's Patron Saints of Nothing by Randy Rebay. He's a Filipino-American author. And it's just in the very beginning, when they say, like, thank you to whoever, this book is for whoever. Mm-hmm. He wrote to the hyphenated. And I felt so seen in that moment because that's what I feel my life has been, is I'm the hyphen. I've been wanting to break the rules, but I've also wanted to be a good girl. Right? I feel like I've been the split. I'm Filipino and I'm also a passing white American. I'm intelligent and smart, and I also want to have fun and want to be sensual and want to, like, be sexy. And I think growing up, that wasn't the story I was told I could be. Right? The virtuous good girl had to be quiet, take up a little bit of space. Oh, you know this one, right?
Girl.
Quiet. Are you kidding? My cousins, I used to sit and my cousins used to close my legs because that's what a demure girl is supposed to do. And I'm
Yeah.
like, right? So then I would do that. And in my brain, I'd be like, are you kidding? I want to sit the way that I want to sit.
Right.
So I've always been that hyphen in between. But as a kid and growing up, I thought I had to choose. It had to be this or that. And I think as I've gotten older, I've realized that the hyphen gets to be and. And that, I think, is the audacity. Diamond is like being able to be like, I can say that I'm an academic and professional and I love my people hard. I can demand respect in places while dancing, right? I get to be intelligent and I get to love sex at the same time. Like it can be all. And breaking those societal rules
Yes.
makes me happy on so many ways. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy. But
No.
I feel like it's so worth it and it allows me to just, it's like, be free. But I think that's what you said, like you, right when you started introducing this idea, you said you get to show people what they can be. And I'd actually venture to say I'd change one word. It would be, I get to actually show people a mirror of who they already are. And I get to show them that whatever society and narratives and systems of oppression have showed them that they are not good, they are not worthy, they are not enough. I get to start to peel back those layers so that they really get to see that, oh, I already have been amazing. And once they can let those go, then they do actually create amazing things. Okay, that was a long way.
No, that was amazing.
Audacious.
So good. I'm like evaluating my life right now.
Okay, now I want to know how. Like, tell me more.
Because that was so good, so rich. Because oh my gosh, I go so many ways with this.
I'll
Okay,
go
so I'll
any
go.
way with you.
Oh my gosh.
Here.
So there's a couple of ways that like are the most prominent. So one is how I grew up, right? So growing up, I always felt out of place. I was always breaking the rules. Like people told me that I talked way too much and I let that silent me.
Yes.
I let that be like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't talk too much. But even when I tried to be quiet, I couldn't. I would always get in trouble for talking in class. I would always get in trouble for talking, at daycare. I'm not gonna lie, I got hit. I would get abused for talking too much at the daycare. My mom doesn't even know this to this day, but I literally got punished for talking too much because I was always talking, would always had something to say, whether or not, people liked it or not. I always had something to say. And here I am starting a podcast.
Okay. Exactly what is needed in this world.
I'm using what I got in trouble for to, give a platform for other people as well.
Yeah.
And I think that is super important because what you got in trouble for is most likely that's your superpower.
Yes.
And can we just talk about too the queen of audaciousness, Lovey Jones, Lovey
Oh.
Ajayi Joe. Can we just, because I peeped on your website and I saw her quote. I said, oh no.
Oh.
No, baby.
Uh-huh.
Love Lovey. Okay. She is on my bucket list of people to meet. Okay.
Yes.
There's like Rihanna, there's Jackie, there's Rachel Rogers, and then there's Lovey.
I love you. Oh, girl, we're gonna be. Don't you worry. We'll meet. We'll meet all of them. We'll be. Those are our people.
She is so just unapologetically herself. She is like the definition of audacious, and she teaches others the same as well. And I've like binged her books. I've read her books. I've listened to her podcast. Like I just stalked her social media. Like I just love what she stands for.
Yes.
And I think that is so important, especially for the younger generation and, the older generation as well for us now. Like I didn't have what you're doing. I didn't have that when I was younger. I felt like I couldn't be myself. I felt like I couldn't, be loud. I felt like I had to choose one. And that led me into like this identity crisis and into depression and just led me into a spiral of like, who the hell am I and what do I do?
Yeah.
And I just think that is so important. And is, oh my gosh, just you get to be both. You get to be that and that hyphen. And that is so, so important. And I am realizing that now as I am, getting older and growing into what I want to do and who I am. Like, I can be both loud and colorful, but also be that quiet person who, who may just want to be isolated sometimes, who maybe I just need to sit in the moment with this person who just, just needs to sit in quiet. Maybe this is what they need right now. Oh my gosh, that is just so good.
And I
So
think
good.
I love that you said that, because I think we don't honor that we are multifaceted all the time. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I am introverted. People don't believe me, but like, I am introverted. Am I good at being with people? Absolutely. But I absolutely need quiet time. I
Yes.
need my space. And not like it's wrong. I mean, you're not the only one. And again, I spend a lot of times with young adults. And so there's the idea of like feeling like we have to mask up. When I was in college, I just have this really clear memory of, I was drawn to these books called like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Picture of Dorian Gray. It's all these ones that have a monster inside. And that's how I interpret it, Diamond, is like, oh, I'm this, like, I'm the good girl, right? I do great in class. I'm nice with people and I'm polite. And it's like, I'm that, whatever that image is. And everything that, like you said, everything that I knew I was, but had to shut down, but I was real aware it was there. The person who loved to party, the person who loved to have fun, the person that was loud as crap, the person that was like excitable and loving and wanted to hold people's hands. Like, I knew that part was, and I thought I interpreted it as being like my monster that I had to hide. Right. Like, talk about identity crisis and not being able to trust yourself and being like, holy crap, is this the rest? Like, having to hide an entire half of yourself or 3/4 of yourself to fit this mold that was, again, never designed for us.
Yes. Yes.
No, and so I think that's why I think that's why I love young adults so much, is like, I get to just say, like, you already are fantastic. There's nothing wrong with you. The stories that have been told to you, do I get to curse on here?
Yes, girl.
Oh,
This podcast has a cuss word in it, okay? It has shit in it, okay? So if you already don't like the title, you should be listening to it or be on this podcast, okay?
All right. I feel like society is always telling us all the ways that we fuck up and that we're fucked up. And I feel like, honestly, one of my gifts is I get to be like, no, they're the ones that have fucked up. That we have not done right by you as a society. And you now, like, just exactly what you're doing. You get to use your voice to change lives. Us being loud, us being visible, that changes the systems of oppression. Talk about revolutionary. When you're talking about audacity, us taking up space and being visible,
Yes.
we don't get to do that when we're quiet. We don't get to do that when we're burnt out and tired and doing all those things. No. No, we're not doing that anymore. We're owning it all.
All of it. And that, oh my God, that just blows my mind because, oh, oh my God, it's so, because, like, okay, for so long, especially with minorities and Black people and Indigenous people of color, like, we are taught to be quiet, to not be too loud, not be too much, especially Black women. We are known for being loud. We are known for just being ourselves, and society has done so well at being like, no, you need to be less so that we can be more, you know? And that has been through generations. And I love being able to see like how we are coming out, about ourselves now, how we are being loud, how we are being unapologetic, be audacious. We're starting businesses. We're making millions of dollars, like being billionaires. Okay. Shout out to Rihanna. Okay. Out here. Do it.
That Super Bowl. I mean, I couldn't talk. My husband actually was like, you're not dancing the way I usually am, squealing and dancing, right? Like, whenever I see her.
Yes.
And I was like, I was actually shushing him. I was like, shh, don't talk. I just gotta. I was like, did you not just see that she just walked? And my mouth dropped. I was like, the power of even her just walking this is what we need in this world.
She didn't even have to walk. She just stood there. I was like, she did it. She could leave now. She didn't even got to perform. I mean, man, please perform because, it's been a minute. But like, I wish that on everyone. I wish that power on everyone. Like, she could just stand there and just the energy, you can feel it.
Yes.
Like, she doesn't even have to say anything. Okay. And she's already making an impact. She's already has this type of power. And I wish that power for us. I wish that power for us because that is how we change the world. That is how we change the narrative. And that is how we continue to be audacious.
Yes.
And we teach others before us as well to do that.
So then, Diamond, I want to know something. Is that okay if I ask you a question?
Go ahead. Ask me.
All right. So here's what is amazing to me is you were physically assaulted for being too much and talking too much as a kid. And now you're leading a podcast and with really the sole purpose of changing lives and being visible, like allowing a space for people to really be themselves, masks off, audacious, all of themselves. What for you allowed for that shift? Because you could have stayed small and you didn't.
Not prepared for this. That is so good. I think what shifted for me is that the moment that I decided to no longer be quiet, it took me honestly going through depression. It took me falling apart before I could piece myself back together. So back in, 2016, so I grew up with, single mother. So I was always, trying to figure out who I was because my dad wasn't around. And when he wasn't around, he wasn't really around. So he really wasn't around. Mm-hmm. And then, so because I didn't have that guidance, because I felt like, I was silenced and forced to be a different person, I, had this mental breakdown. And so in 2015, I was in a hospital for a night. I had a panic attack, passed out, not breathing, ended up in the hospital. And at this moment, it was like, man, I just want to die. Like, I don't even care about life anymore. And it took so much out of me to where my parents literally had to carry me to my bed that night because I couldn't walk. Like, it took so much energy. Everything that I had piled up just erupted at once. And from there, it was like I was slowly putting myself back together, but it was like I still didn't want to be here. And so I fast forward somehow, graduated college to get my bachelor's. I remember my first night at a university, I was like, yeah, this is the night that I'm going to end it because I just can't anymore. And so I ended up meeting this girl that day because I was at I was like with sorority when they're doing like the sorority things and they're trying to like, pick who, yeah. Yep. Yes. Yeah. And I didn't really care for Rush. I was just there because my roommates were like, I want to Rush. And I was like, okay, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm just sitting there and this little white girl comes up to me and she's like, hey, you want to Rush? I'm like, no, I don't think I want to Rush is away from here. But thank you. And, she started talking to me and I was a little hesitant because I was like, who's this white girl talking to me? And she, invited me to like this party. And so I went to this party. And that's when I got to, really kind of talk to people more. And so I met this woman and she was like, hey, I'm getting married in, a couple of months. You should come. And I was like, what? I'm wanted, And so that was the moment where I was like, okay, maybe there is something more to live for. And so here I am today. So after it took me being broken down. Yeah. In order for me to get back up. And so when I moved to Germany for 2 years after I graduated, I decided to move to Germany. And that is when I really came into terms of like, I'm the shit. Like I am the shit. Okay. And I can motivate and encourage other people too, to be the shit because they are, you already are. You just need that right person to be like, go do it. You need that one moment, that one person to change your life, to see something in yourself that you couldn't even see before. And while I was in Germany, I had friends and people who saw things in me that I didn't even know was there. Yes. And they pushed me to, be a stylist. So I started fashion styling and I did, styling for people who vogued and for queer people. And I just did all that and for local musicians and got published in magazines. And so that was like the turning point. I was like, oh my God, I am amazing.
Yes,
and
you are.
And I was seeing all these creatives like not being recognized for their work the way that they should have been. And I was like, what can I do about that? You know? And so the only thing at my mind at that time was like, oh, I could just, I can get to know this person. I can coach them. I can style them. And then, appearance, because appearance does matter. And so when you appear, as a certain way with a certain image, people are automatically attracted to you. And that is when you attract, what's yours, you attract the right people, and you can attract that client that could change your life forever. And so I realized I could do more when I was sitting on the couch with my best friend. We were just having a conversation.
Yes.
And these conversations were so rich that we were having. It was like, more people need to hear this. Like, why are we just having this conversation on the couch?
Mm-hmm.
We should start a podcast. And he was like, oh my God, let's do it.
I love it.
So he's actually in the first episode, y'all. Mark Baker Sanchez. That's my bestie. And that is who pushed me to be like, start this podcast. What are you doing? And so originally we were going to, start it together, but then he got this amazing role and he was like, hey, this is more your vision than it is mine. I'm going to support you every step of the way, but you need to do this. And I was like, bet. So I was like, all right. So I came up with the name and I just went for it, and I started, and as I'm interviewing these people, I'm like, more people need to know about you. So I think that was the moment where I was like, we can do more. And then being at ROI also opened my eyes. It's like, whoa, I can definitely do more. Even though, I have this small platform right now, but eventually it's going to grow.
Oh, for
and
sure.
I don't want to be the only person on that platform. I don't want to be the only person at the table, at the space. I want to invite others and others who, may be smaller, but who are hella talented. Like the girl who created my intro music. She's like literally 19. Okay. She is young and I paid her because I'm like, I want you to create this intro. I want you to create music because I know you're good at it. I just see this podcast going from, this simple, like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going for it. So like, I know what the fuck I'm doing, and we finna go book Brianna next week.
It's coming.
It's
coming. All right, she's gonna hear this and be like, I'm in completely. But I guess there's two things that you keep that keep coming up when you talk. One is the importance of community that I've been thinking a lot about, especially over the past couple months, and that it's February and Valentine's Day, and that's when this is recorded. I don't know when this is going to be out. But I do want to recognize you before we move forward in that you, and I think about this in coaching, is I get to say words and I get to support, but it's the people who you interpret it however you're going to interpret it. You run with it however you're going to run with it. That's on you. Right? You may put my face on it, but really the breakthroughs are you. And you were able to understand on a very cellular level that you are wanted. And you went to believing that you're amazing, which many human beings do not. They'll think, oh, it's a fluke, right? That's our tendency, especially as women, especially as BIPOC women, especially as LGBTQIA women. Like, we're in marginalized communities. It's palpable to just pretend that we're not amazing and say it's because of everything else. And you did not stand for that. You were able to realize that you are amazing and that you can take up the space to create this podcast and that you using your voice will make a difference for people. I mean, that's amazing. So I wish I could go through the screen and hug you. So I love it. And then you brought up community. Here's what I've been thinking, because I think this is something that, and I hear it a lot, especially this month with Valentine's Day. There's a lot of humans who I've been coaching who will say, well, of course I don't have the love of my life. Of course I'm lonely because I haven't worked my shit out yet, because I don't love myself completely. So therefore I don't deserve love. And I call bullshit. I know, there is a part of the truth of there is some truth to it of at least believing or trusting that you're deserving of it, or that you're worthy of an amazing relationship. I understand that. but it's not all of it. Like just what you said is, it can take somebody, like seeing ourselves the way somebody else sees us, seeing the love, experiencing their love for us, experiencing their excitement for our gifts. And all of a sudden we're like, wait, maybe I do have a gift. Wait, they adore me just as I am. Maybe I have things that I can adore too. Maybe I do have qualities that light people up or have people feel loved. And I think that it could just be my perception. I could be wrong, but I think we discount how important that is, and that it doesn't have to be, I do it all by myself. That it's a give and take. There is a synergy that happens and a magic that happens when we are with other people. And you spoke so beautifully to that it took a couple people at a party to say, you're wanted, please be with me. And you were able to then do whatever you needed to do to dig yourself out of the hole.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that is very, very powerful. And community is very important. Like, I wouldn't have been able to get to where I am, stay alive, be here, if I didn't have community. And that is something that I want to create with this podcast. Like, even though you haven't met me before, no, you have, but but some people who are listening have never met me before. And so I want them to get that sense of community that, like, even though I've never met you, I don't know you, I'm cheering you on. If you need that cheerleader, I got you. Okay. Yeah. If you need someone to hype you into oblivion, to forget, for you to be humble, because we're not being humble. Humbleness doesn't exist on this podcast. I want you to know that. We're not humble here. We're conceited as hell. Okay. We're not, no.
Yeah. Oh, and can I tell them the story of when I met you? Can I just tell them a little bit of how I fangirled? Can I?
Okay, let's.
You may not remember, so let me just tell them. So y'all who are listening, we're at this conference in Puerto Rico, and this girl, your girl Diamond, posts on like the page, and she has photos that are amazing. She's like, I'm going to be there. Anyways, I saw the post and I was like, of course I need to meet this woman. And everybody's like, can you please do these workshops so that we can learn about styling? And she's like, yeah, sometime I'll create it. I wake up at the butt crack of fucking dawn to get into this brain date with her, and it's full, y'all. It's like, I'm like, what? Did people do this at 2:00 in the morning? On what?
They literally did.
Whatever. You know what? At that point, I'm not as I was cursing at them. I'm like, how dare they take my spot? Whatever, it's fine. So, fast forward, we're in Puerto Rico.
Oh my God.
Here's what's amazing. I think this is like speaking to the trust and audacity and just how about like just honoring myself and what I wanted? And it was like at some point in the first day, I was like, I'm just going to trust that I'm going to vibe with the people that I vibe with. I'm not going to act fakey. I'm just going to trust that people are going to come into my lives I'm supposed to meet. And that's going to be good. It's going to be amazing enough. It's going to be amazing. That's the breakthrough. The first table, like we're trying to find lunch tables. I sit down next to this amazing woman here. I just sit down and I ask her who she is, and she tells me, you guys, I think you noticed, I started tearing up. I was like,
she was so emotional, y'all. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Do I hug you?
I think it really was. It's like the people come into our lives who are supposed to be in our lives. And that's what I felt in that moment. It was sort of sitting down. It felt so serendipitous. I think it was that too. If we're going to bring it back to audacity, it was like me being bold enough to just trust myself and not do the standard, like I'm going to meet every single human being in the world and rug myself ragged. Me being audacious enough to be like, no, I get to do it my way. And then it's like, of course I sat next to the human being that I wanted to meet. Like, of course I did. And here we are.
Here we are. Here we are. Oh my gosh. Yes. That was definitely a golden moment. And it's crazy too, because I was like, oh, CL, okay. And then I remember seeing your name being spelled. I was like, oh, I know who that is because I stalked her. I remember you commenting and then like liking a comment or something. And I was like,
Okay.
boop.
Oh,
And so I
oh,
like kind of stalked you a bit. And then so like when I saw your name, I was like, oh, that's her. Oh my God, that's so crazy. That's so crazy. But the brain date, I literally, I'm not lying. Like I literally posted it late in the butt crack of night. Like, cause who the fuck can be awake, right? And I woke up to it at 6 a.m. booked. And I
yes.
kid you not, people literally were up at 1, 2 a.m. booking. And I'm like, what are y'all doing up at 2 a.m.?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Waiting for you. Okay. You know that thing where you said like you realize that you're wanted? You're wanted. You're effing
Yes.
wanted.
Yes. If I could have done more brain dates, I definitely would have. Yeah.
No,
But
well then she doesn't need a brain date, y'all. Just hire her for her amazing styling and her energy, and I'm just shout out. She's fucking phenomenal. There you go.
here we go. We're phenomenal. Yeah. And you are phenomenal, girl. So tell us
Yes.
the story of your first audacious decision.
Oh. Okay. That's okay. Hold on. I have a okay. I can talk my So all right. So I've always been humble about my intelligence.
We're not being humble here.
Actually, this is the first time I'm actually saying this, right? Like, I usually don't call myself smart. Yes, I've got the doctorate, and like, there's all those things, but it's like I don't use those words usually. And and I tend to slough this off. But in college, I worked it out. Like I was a double major, maybe a triple major, no, double major and a minor. And I came into school with a lot of AP credits. And then I was able to transfer out of I got a lot of credits for testing out of languages. In any case, right, there's like the systems at play that are like, you need to get your degree in 4 years. And I was like, no.
Absolutely not.
I'm looking at these numbers here, like I'm looking at the credits, and I should be able to do a double major and a minor in less than 3. And I remember the advisor being like, there's no way. And I'm like, well, let me show you here. There you go. And then she was like, oh, I've never seen that before. And to me, Diamond, it wasn't a big deal. I would say that like my audacity is that I've always been able to at least see what's possible, especially with other people. But it's like, at least I'm like, if I think it's possible, I'm going to go and do it. And so I did. I actually graduated double major and a minor in 3 years. And then I went directly into the doctoral program, into the graduate program. And I was what's called ABD. So it's like all but dissertation within a year. So I was able to complete my master's and most of my doctorate within a year. So I was graduating. I decided to do a terminal master's and go to France because I was so disillusioned with education at that point. But so I decided to do a terminal master's. But I was graduating with my master's at the same time that my friends that I started college with were graduating with their undergrad.
Girl.
So when people say like, those things, those rules where they're like, this is how it's supposed to be. I'm like, no, doesn't have to be. And it doesn't have to be crazy hard. And I'm just going to do it. And it wasn't crazy hard. So I don't think I was just like, this is just what I did. But I seriously, and that was the year they already asked me to start teaching in that program. So I legit was teaching at the college level. I was 19 or 20. I think I was 20 maybe. Because I remember my colleagues being like, let's go to the bar. And I'd be like, how about pizza? I can't get into the bar.
Wow.
That was I wouldn't have called it audacious back then. But now thinking back, I think when we're talking about like not conforming, I think that's how I think of not like audacious, not conforming, not meeting the status quo. Because I could have very well took the 7 or 8 years that people say, and be like, no, it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't.
No.
And I love that you saw that because, man, first of all, I'm appalled. Okay, that you think I'm appalled.
By?
I'm shook. I'm taken aback. Okay, the fact that first of all you finished your bachelor's in like double, mind that, in like 3 fucking years, and then you just completed a master's and a doctorate. It's like
And
at the same time your friends completed the bachelor. Like,
the doctorate took longer, I will say that, because I got most of the coursework done, I do have to say, and then I stopped it, and then I picked up the doctorate when it felt better for me. So I'm just going to do that.
but that's phenomenal because I couldn't imagine myself going past a bachelor's degree. Because
different.
what?
For what? I get it. Oh, I still ask that and I will say this too, y'all. I am not a proponent for everybody going to college. Let's just say that for real, right? So, and I know that too. I will have lots of parents who are like, my kid needs coaching because they need to go to college. And I'm like, I'm not the person for you then. Like, I will vouch for them. If it's right for them, awesome. But if it's not right for them, also awesome. It's going to be for them.
Yes. And that's the perfect leeway into, so the kind of challenges that you have faced in your business, and what steps you took to overcome them, because like you're talking about right now, that you dealt with like parents who are like, I need you to teach my kids, tell my kids to go to college so they can listen to me and do what I want because I want to live through them. And it's like, So what kind of challenges have you faced and how have you overcome them to then that's what we're going to get into.
Oh, okay.
The results, baby.
Ooh, okay. We're coming around. Look, I see you.
We're coming.
Okay. You got a whole process. I love it. You like saw this through. So here's what's interesting. I'd say that my biggest challenges have honestly been with me. And actually, hold on. It's me within the context of living in a society that is capitalistic, industrial, patriarchal, like all of these things that have me rush and always feel like I have to be doing. And, when I say that I'm self-retired, I mean it in a sense of I want the rest of my life to feel retired. I want to feel joy and ease and like I love the pace of my days and that I'm at choice and that I'm not living by somebody else's timeline, right? Or value system. And starting this business, I knew that I wanted to do it my way. But Diamond, that's been the challenge, is that I keep going to these patterns of like, productivity, or I'm not making enough money fast enough, or if I just did these things and did these molds the way that other people have said it, and then realizing when I'm in it, it's like, oh shit, this does not feel good. This is not what I'm standing for. And recognizing my flow, recognizing my cycles, trusting that my creativity is going to ebb and flow, and to be able to just count on like, that's exactly what's needed. So I'd say the biggest hurdles, untangling the business that I want to build and have it be my own, separate from every other business that I've seen. And trusting that that's okay and it's going to work.
It is. And it is working. Okay, you want to know why the fuck it's working?
Ooh, tell me.
Because, baby, them results. Okay, let's talk about the testimonials. Okay, let's talk about the testimonials, the results, the receipts. Okay. Talk your shit, sis. Tell us.
Oh, God, this is going to make me emotional. All right, the results. I think the biggest result I can say is that human beings, and I do a lot of groups for young adults, but I coach all age ranges one-on-one. But people leave, no matter what the sessions, the things that I hear the most is I feel like a weight has been lifted, or I feel lighter. The biggest one that I've been getting recently is that, and it reminds me when you were talking about the depression, is people have been saying that they feel hope again. There was another, or that, I mean, and there's the tangible results, but those are the things I think that really, it has me sit back and say, wow, I can be a space for people to show up as themselves. I mean, I have I had a client who legit told me, he said, this is the first time I can remember, so at least in the last 5 or 6 years, that I was able to be myself completely. This is the longest I've been myself in the past 5 or 6 years. I mean, and that for me is such a gift that I get to be a space and that people trust me enough to do that. So there's results like that come up. And then there's there's the tangible results of graduating college when they never thought that they could, being able to coach a lot of people with ADD, ADHD, and having them learn that there's nothing wrong with them, that there's a genius. And when they get that, then realizing that they can do school on their own way and graduate and have whatever career that they want, even though society has said that that's not going to work for them. So I love that. I love people creating, what else? There's like the people that I love. These are the ones where they're like, okay, one day in the future, maybe after when I'm in my 30s, I'm going to have this business that I really want. And then Diamond, like seriously, within 6 months, they have started the business. They have made enough money in the business to leave the job that they don't want to be in anymore while going to school. I know. Am I speaking your language a little bit, right? And it's like, and they're like, wait, I didn't have to do it in 10 years. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You did it in 2 months.
Oh my God. And I hate that society makes you think it's going to take you 10 years to be successful in the fucking business.
No. We do not have to take that long. And I love this quote. I think there's truth and right. Like it can happen fast. It absolutely can. And also I think we overestimate what we can do in a year, or for example, a month or a week. And we underestimate what we can do over 5 years, over 10 years. But what happens when we do that and we don't celebrate is like, if we don't see something happening or traction in the first month or a year, because society again has said like, oh, it has to be so fast and you're going to see these results, and if you're not making this kind of money and all this stuff, then you're a failure. And it's like, wait. So we give up way too fast versus celebrating. Hold up. You want to do this sustainable. Just imagine what this is going to be in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Like just imagine. And I get to be the cheerleader that shows people the mirror of like, wait, remember when you told me, I know it's going to feel like shit right now. But let's celebrate. And remember, let me show you the progress. Let me show you just like 2 weeks ago where you were at. Are you kidding? There was yesterday. Oh, I'm just going to go.
Come on, girl, go home.
Yesterday. All right. So we spoke one time before yesterday. And at that point, they were not sure if they wanted to be in the marriage. They weren't like just really down, not like feeling, what is the word for not powerful? Not powerful?
You're feeling weak. They were feeling
weak, like they were a victim, like there's no way out, just really disillusioned with life, like what's next, no hope. And I spoke with her yesterday, like it's possible. She's already had a conversation with her husband. She's realized this is what I want. This is what I need. If you're not going to do it, I realize that my life is going to be just fine without you. I really want it to be with you, but these are my standards. This is who I am. This is who I'm going to become. And I'm becoming. And I was like,
that is revolutionary. Okay.
See all the things that you've done. And she's like, wait, I don't want to go back. She's like, I'm so afraid that I'm going to go back into that box. And here's, I think, what's amazing is there's no actual way for us to go into that box. The growth has already occurred. We've already experienced life outside of that box. It's sort of like living a life thinking like, I'm going to get to a size 4 or a size 6 that I was when I was 14. Right? It's like, there's no way. Like, I just don't think my bones, even if I was just bones, I don't think I'm going to be a size 4. Right? But society, right? Or there's like these narratives out there that are like, in order to be worthy and enough, you've got to try to fit yourself back into this thing that is called a size 4 versus there ain't no way I'm going to be a size 4 anymore. I've outgrown that. I'm like, whatever. The chrysalis has gone. I am now the fucking butterfly. I have flown. There's no way I can go back into that cocoon anymore. So all of this talk of like, I'm so afraid that I'm going to go backwards. It's like, it's just actually not even possible. The results this week.
Baby, if these are the results this week, I need to know what the results were over time because
Come join. I'm here. I'm available.
Hey, I'm gonna have to add you to my list.
Rihanna, right? Pull up. I'm here.
Skirt. Okay. Are what I wish I had before, like when I was younger, because I felt like there was something wrong with me. Like, I wish that someone had told me there is nothing wrong with you and meant it. And had I gotten that sooner, I probably wouldn't have went through most of the shit that I did, because I went through that because I felt like I had to be someone else because something was wrong with me. And I felt like things were happening and like people were leaving me because like I wasn't good enough. Mm-hmm. And that is so, so good and so important that you are doing that. And baby girl, I commend you, okay? And I am rooting for you. And I'll be sending all people to you because you are phenomenal. You are the shit. You are the life coach, okay?
Life. How about I just have no word? I'm just trying to receive from you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And you are not allowed to be humble, okay?
Okay.
Humble no more.
No.
Humble no more.
No, humble no more.
Because you are amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I do. I love it. I love being that for people.
So thank you, baby girl. So closing out, what are 3 pieces of advice that you want to leave for young adults or, adults?
Adults?
Listening.
Ooh. All right. 3 pieces of advice. Ooh, okay, hold on. Talk about adults. Those who are older than us, those who are older than you, do not necessarily know more. And they do not know better. And we can even go to research, because I'm the nerd that loves the research stuff. That whole elder, like people who are older know more because of experience, stops at 24. So 24, It is now equalized, y'all. And I would venture to say, my perception, it's younger depending on some things. Okay, so I would say advice number 1, those adults, those people older than you do not always know best. They don't always know what's better for you. Number 2, life can get better and better and better and better. I come up with a lot of, there's like the transitions, right? Of like, oh, I've lived the best days of my life, or the best day of my life, my wedding, the kids, college, right? Being a teen, whatever it is. And I would just want to offer that it's actually possible. And from experience, like life can just get better. There's magic. There is magic in growing old. Fucking A. It's amazing. So just know that it's not limited, right? Like we can have an amount of best days. There's no like set, like you are allowed only 7 in your whole life. So let's not stress out about that anymore. Mm-hmm. And young adults, the 3rd piece of advice would be, this is just the beginning of making choices for yourself. So I know that there's a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves to make the right decisions, and we feel that if we're not making the right decisions, we're going to royally screw up our lives, the rest of our lives. Y'all have 85 more years. This is just the beginning. If you decide you make a choice and it's not a good one, you get to change. And always changing, right? So I would just say make the choices that feel the best to you at any given moment, that bring you the most happiness, that feel the best to you, and trust it. And then go from there. And tomorrow you're going to make another choice. And then in a month you're going to make more choices. And at some point down the line, life, that's where you're living your life.
My gosh, that is so good. So, so good. CL, my baby, my girl, thank you so much for being a guest on my podcast and for sharing your gifts, your passion, your audacity. Thank you. You are needed. You are so needed. That is something my client recently told me.
Oh.
She recently told me, she's like, you are so needed and I can't wait to see what you do. And CL, you are so needed and I can't wait to see what else you do. So tell the people where they can find you.
I'm on social. I should spell this out because I've got 2 long names. So it's at CIELLEAMUNDSON. So at CL Amundsen on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. And my name is also the website. So you can come visit me anytime.
You cannot spell. It will be in the show notes.
I know. I got 2 weird names. Oh, and that's also, talk about audacity. I did not take my husband's name, y'all. And yes, I still love him and he still loves me. Like, best marriage ever without taking his name. It's possible.
Hey, it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, it would have been easier though, spelling wise, but whatever. Why make life
It's
easier?
whatever. It's your name. They're going to learn it. They're going to appreciate it. They're going to love it. They're going to deal with it.
There you go.
And if they can't deal with it, well, they're going to have to deal with it anyway.
They're going to do it because that's what
It
it
don't even
is.
matter. It don't even matter.
It is. Oh my gosh, I love you. Thank you so much for this space, and thank you for what you are creating in this world. Really.
You're so welcome. Thank you. That means a lot. And I love you too, girl.
Okay. Oh, we are totally like loving on each other. I wish.
No, it's okay. It is so important. It is important.
Hearts. They're like coming out of my eyes.
Thank you guys so much for attending this week or listening to this week's podcast. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed our energy and talking about audacity. And just remember, guys, you can fucking do it. Because if you're not going to do it, who else is going to do it? Believe in yourself. All right. Peace out. Please share with your mama, your daddy, your grandma, your grandpa, your grandma's grandpa, your grandpa's grandma, grandmom, daddy, dog, helicopter, whoever. Tag us on social media and let us know what you thought of this episode. All right, y'all. Peace out.